Okay, so like on Monday, I played with the Ouija table on the tablet that my sister gave me on Monday at Barnes & Noble's, and that was March 6th. And it spelled out Anthony, and it spelled out other things before that. And I can't remember the other words that it spelled out because I didn't write them down. But after that, it spelled out Brittany twice. And then just a second ago, it spelled out Brittany again. And yesterday it did. So I don't know. It keeps saying the same things over and over again. Seems like, aliens can, manipulate Ouija boards and this Ouija table type of thing. The Ouija table, it just talks to you. You don't really ask it questions or anything. But with the Ouija board, you're supposed to ask it questions and stuff. But anyway, this is really weird because I met a physical alien on Thursday night, and that was March 9th. And so on March 9th, me and my sister went in there kind of late. We normally don't go late, but we got there about 7:15, and we stayed about an hour. And like I say, it's really weird because it did spell out an Anthony on March 6th, and that was the first time I played with the Ouija table ever. And then March 9th, that's when I had this experience with a physical alien, well, interdimensional alien that posed as a physical, or that manifested as a physical human. But I don't believe he was human at all. So anyway, So right after my sister got there to Barnes & Noble's, we sat at the table, and probably about 5 minutes later, that's when, I don't know if he actually walked through the front door. I have no idea. He just ended up, my back was facing the door. My sister's face was facing, the entryway to the bookstore. But all I know is he ended up being there, right there in front of me, by the napkins and the straws. And then, like I say, I don't know when he manifested or whatever, but he started walking up to where the napkins and stuff were. And then he immediately, turned around and then he's like, can I come up and sit with you guys? I see you in here all the time, and I just haven't had enough nerve to come talk to you. And I thought that was kind of weird because I've never, ever seen him at all. And he actually looked like this. He actually kind of looked like this, except he had a shape-shifting, computer-generated drooping big old slit in his eyelid. His left eyelid kept shape-shifting. Not shape-shifting, but he had a big slit in his eyelid. And Anthony was about... he was older than this guy, about 53 or 54, but I just kept staring at it, and it looked like it was being computer generated. It just looked like it's weird. And this was in 3D. This wasn't in the dream state. This was total 3D. This isn't the first time I came across physical aliens that met up with me. And like I say, sometimes they don't interact and sometimes they do. This time, I never had an experience where an alien was able to act so human. But if it wasn't for that weird eyelid, I would have maybe thought he was just a physical human hybrid. But, so anyway, he finally, he started talking about Big K. It's like he was reading my brain and stuff, because I had already been to Big K and spent like $100 and $10 on a jacket. And I did actually buy some socks. And anyway, but the first thing he said when he's like, oh, can I come sit with you? He said that he saw us in there all the time. And like I say, at first I knew that was a red flag because I've never, ever seen him in there, ever. And so then he sat down in a chair, and then the first thing he said, he's like, my spidey sense, I have good spidey sense. And he said that, oh, I could tell you guys are both college educated, which we are, but my sister has more degrees or whatever. And it's like he already knew all of that. And I actually did ask him if he did, because I said, well, you look pretty smart or whatever. And he said that, well, he doesn't really have any degrees to show it or anything, but I just took it as he probably knew a lot of had to do a lot of mechanical stuff, you know, but don't really have degrees to show it or whatever. But anyway, I think he was just making stuff up. But anyway, he did, after he said about the college-educated stuff, he said that he was homeless, and he did have a backpack. He was holding a backpack, and then but his face and everything, and his hair and everything was very kempt. He did have like old, not old, but black, clean sweatpants on, and like a t-shirt, but everything was clean and everything, and his face was clean and clean-shaven and everything. But he just seemed kind of like like an asshole, kind of like a prickhead. But anyway, like I say, after that incident, I just happened last night to be looking up abandoned houses on YouTube, and that's where I saw this guy, and I'm like, oh my God, this is what Anthony, the alien, kind of looked like when he manifested as human. Except Anthony was like 50, he looked more like 53. But like I say, I don't think he was human. If I see him again, then I'll know he is, but I guarantee you I won't ever see him again, because these beings, they never, at least with me, they never manifest as exactly the same human that they have before, or creature or whatever that they have before in 3D. They've never manifested, you know, on a different experience as the same, you know, human looking person or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, so after he said that about you know, that we were he knew that we were college educated, then he had pudding in his hand. He had like a 4 little pack of pudding, and it looked totally nasty. I never did see him open it up and eat it. But yeah, it looked kind of nasty. It was like, I don't know if it was vanilla. If it was vanilla, it looked nasty. If it was banana, it looked nasty. It didn't look like the right color. And he had like a 4-pack case of the pudding. And he acted like he had just been to Big K. Because see, it's like he knew that I had already been shopping at Big K because they're about to close. And he did say something about buying a pair of socks, which I thought was kind of interesting, because I had already bought a pair of socks too, 2 weeks previous. And he said something like, well, pretty soon you'll be able to spend $100 there, or $10 there, and get $100 worth of stuff. And I already bought like a little over $100 worth of stuff, you know, 2 or 3 weeks previous. And I bought a jacket that was $50, but I only paid $10 for it. And it's like, I don't know, it's like he was reading my, like it's like he was there for me, not for my sister. And he looked at me, and he's like, he said that I smelled good. He never said, you know, that to my sister, that she smelled good. And he also asked me my name, and he did not ask my sister her name. So it's like, and I did spray myself down with that Japanese fragrance or whatever before I went to the bookstore. And he said that I smelled good, and he'd never asked my sister her name, or if she, you know, that she smelled good or whatever. And even when he sat there in the chair, it's like he was, you know, he was facing me, not like my sister. And so anyway, he's like, you want some pudding? You know, and he kind of shoved pudding at me, and I'm like, oh, no, that's okay. But he tried to give me some of that nasty-ass looking pudding. And I was like, well, I didn't think there was very much food left at Big K or whatever. And he's like, well, there's not a lot, you know, there's not a lot of food left. And so anyway, and after he said, after he asked me my name, I told him, and then I was like, well, what's your name? And he said, Anthony. And I thought that was kind of weird. I don't know, he kind of acted like I already should have known his name or something. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but I kid you not, you know, 3 days previous on March 6th, I sat there for about 3 hours and 15 minutes. My sister was there for like 6 hours, but I was there for like, I actually did stay for about 3 hours and 15 minutes. I normally don't stay that long, and the Ouija table spelled out Anthony. And like I said, a lot of times it doesn't make much, you know, sense, all the words that it says, but it did spell out an Anthony. And then, you know, a couple minutes after that, it spelled out Brittany twice. And it keeps spelling out Brittany. And so anyway, another conversation, he had a USA Today in his hand. and USA Today newspaper in his hand, and he started reading about the he started reading about the CIA or NSA and how they can hack into TVs and refrigerators and listen to you and blah 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 with microphones and all that. And he's like, here, read it. And so he gave me the newspaper, and I started reading it. I started acting like I was reading it and stuff, but I'm thinking, I already know all this. And then I was just trying to make conversation. So I said something like, well, do they have webcams and stuff in there too? But they don't. They have recording devices, but not webcams and shit, like inside your refrigerator and TV or whatever. And he's like, well, if you'll read it, you'll find out. It's all there. But see, he's kind of an asshole, sort of. But anyway, I was pretending like I was reading it, but I wasn't really reading it really good because I already know all that shit. He's not telling me anything I don't know. And so then he's like, well, I want my paper back. He's like, well, are you done yet? I want my paper back. So I gave it to him, the USA Today, and then another conversation. Like I say, he was able to hold his physical form for like 40 minutes. I mean, he sat there and talked to us for like 40 minutes. Or at least it seemed about 40 minutes. And then he mentioned, well, actually my sister started the conversation with 911, and then she said, well, my sister doesn't believe it even happened or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I do, but I said something about there was no debris. And so Mr. Reptilian Alien named Anthony that posed as a human, he kind of acted stupid about that. He kind of acted like he really thought there was debris and everything. And I was like, Christy, there was no debris. It was just freaking dust. If a building comes crashing down like that, there would be big debris bigger than my house, stacked up half the length of the height of the building, which is like 111 feet. So it would be 55 feet, or shit, I don't know, 1,100 meters, or I don't know, or 1,100 feet. No, I mean, it was 111 stories. So 111 stories, something like that. But if the debris came crashing down, it would be, 55 stories high of debris. There wasn't anything like that. It was just dust. It was like just papers and dust flying everywhere. There's no freaking debris. But people are brainwashed. If they say the TV says, it came crashing down, that's what people believe. But yeah, I'm apt to believe, I don't know. I don't even know if they really existed, really. Those Twin Towers, I'd never been there. It never was in my reality, so maybe they didn't even exist at all. But because you can even look at some videos where it came crashing down, and that even looks fake. The way it came crashing down, it looks fake. So I don't even know if those Twin Towers even existed. But if he's sitting there being a reptilian alien or whatever, you'd think he wouldn't have acted stupid about that. Because reptilians aren't stupid. And but maybe he was just he just wanted to act stupid. You know what I'm saying? But he acted like, oh yeah, there was debris. But then he said something about fear, and he's like, well, you know what that did? It produced a lot of fear out to everybody. Like no matter where you were in the world, you're always going to think, Arabs or whatever is going to come up and kill you or whatever. And I thought that was kind of interesting because he already knew that I had those thoughts many years ago when I realized when I was a sheep back when this happened, when 911 happened. I was jogging in the state of, I was in Kansas City, but the state of Kansas, and I was jogging at nighttime, and this was right after 911 happened. And I was kind of like in fear, I was kind of thinking, damn, what if freaking tank goes down the street right now, or, and they come after, these terrorists come after me or whatever. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, he already knew I had thoughts about that, but that was just, I wasn't enlightened back then when 911 happened. And then I started thinking about how stupid I was to think in fear like that back after I enlightened in 2012. But he started saying stuff like that. And then I don't know, I can't remember how the conversation started with psychology, but But I said that was my degree and I just love psychology. And he's like, oh, I do too. He said he loves psychology. And what did he say? Oh, yeah, and then he started talking about JUNG, the collective unconscious. And I was like, yeah, no, what's that again? Well, anyway, and then he started explaining to me what it was. And I told him, I said, I don't believe in reincarnation. He's like, well, I don't either. And that's when he started talking about the collective unconscious and JUNG and everything. And I told him, yeah, I learned all that in psychology. And that makes more sense than, I don't know, I don't believe in reincarnation. I told him, but anyway, I told him this was my first physical life in this dimension. And I told him that I was a physical, I told him that I was an alien in my past life, a reptilian alien. I said, well, I know I was a reptilian alien in my past life. I know this was my first physical life. I know I've never, been human before, and I've never lived in this dimension before. Because I have another experience I could talk about when I was like a year and a half. So I don't believe in reincarnation. That's all mind control. But anyway, he said he didn't believe in it either. But it was kind of funny when I told him that I was a reptilian alien in my past life. He was just kind of like, oh. I don't know. He just he didn't seem shocked or anything when I said that. It was just kind of funny. Okay, and so anyway, so finally he's like, well, I'm going to leave you guys alone here in a minute. Yeah, he said he's going to leave us alone here in a minute. And then he right off the bat, what I first noticed when he first turned around was like, I want to sit down with you guys. I see you guys in here all the time. The first thing I noticed was his eyelid. He had a big old slit, like a 1-inch V slit in his lower eyelid. And I just kept staring at it because I knew that was kind of anomalous. I kept staring at it and staring at it. My sister noticed it too, and she was like, yeah, I noticed it. That was really weird. And I kept staring at it and staring at it. And it kept morphing. I mean, it kept his whole eye. I mean, his whole left eye just kept looking like something was being thrown over it, like computer generated image or something. And it was like in real time, like digitally moving and messing up and shit. So that was very anomalous. If it wasn't for that, I would have thought maybe he was just a physical human hybrid. These beings cannot hold their physical form for long. And like I say, he was able to hold it for a good 40 minutes. And he said, well, I'm going to leave you guys alone pretty soon. And then he started walking off, and I turned around. And that's when I noticed he was gone, and I just thought, like, what the hell? So I got up real fast, and I didn't see him. I don't know how the hell he could have walked all the way to the other end of the building that fast. And finally, I did kind of see him standing up over there, but I don't know how the hell he got over there that fast. Because he walked off slowly to begin with. And, so anyway, and my sister swears up and down that... Okay, I gotta be quiet here in a minute because it's gonna roll over to 20 minutes. God, what a piece of shit camera. And they say we have good technology. Okay, so anyway, this video won't be that much longer than 20 minutes, but I couldn't do it in 20 minutes because I like to ramble a lot anyway. So anyway, that's the first thing I noticed right off the bat when he turned around was that big, gross. But I did not know right off the bat, I didn't, make an effort to sit there and stare at it and stare at it and stare at it till a little bit later. But I noticed right off the bat he had the big slit in his, and never in my life have I ever seen any human being with a slit. I even tried to find pictures on the internet and can't find any of a human being with a big O, almost like some people that have cleft palates, except this was almost like a big O cleft palate or slit that was about 1 inch or maybe 3/4 inch long. It was pretty damn long. It was like a V, it just was a big old slit in his freaking eyelid, his right eyelid. Well, his left, but to me, when he was staring at me, it would have been my right. but his left eyelid. And right off the bat, I noticed that was kind of weird. And then many minutes later, I decided to really stare at it. And I just kept staring at it and staring at it and staring at it. And I noticed it just kept looking like it was being, like he had a hologram thrown over him. It was really weird. Like, I don't know, maybe sometimes when they manifest as physical, they do manifest as how they totally look in the other dimension, but because they have to disguise themselves, they throw holograms over themselves, like computer-generated holograms. Shit, I don't know how it's done exactly, but this is a case where, yeah, I would have to say it was like he manifested as physical in his true form, but he didn't want to show everybody how he really looked, so he had to throw some human-looking hologram over himself. Because, like I say, it digitally was, like when I kept staring at his eye, it just, you can tell it was getting, I don't know, like it was digitally being created, computer-generated. I mean, like, you know, like in, I don't know, in real time. It was weird. Like I said, I've never had an experience quite like this. All the other physical aliens I have met, you know, I don't look at it like that. I don't perceive it like that. I don't perceive it like, oh, they threw a hologram over themselves. No, they just freaking manifested as physical, bam, and manifested as a human-looking person, you know. Like when that black guy, well, he wasn't a black guy, he was an alien, a reptilian alien that posed as a black guy. Or that manifested as a black man when he came into the federal building where I work. That was back in 2014, and that story's on here, and I'll post that video on here. But he didn't have a hologram thrown over him. He just manifested like that. But this is the only case where I can say, okay, well, maybe somehow this physical alien manifested, well, they're not physical, they're interdimensional, non-physical, but they can manifest in this dimension physically for a short period of time, and sometimes maybe they do throw holograms over themselves, like in this situation with Anthony. So anyway, that was really freaking weird, and my sister swears up and down, like I say, my back was turned where the cashiers are and everything. My sister swears up and down she did see him go buy a book. And I was like, are you sure you saw him go buy a book and everything? But like I say, that still doesn't mean, that he was anything but an alien. I mean, like I say, they can kind of reappear during the whole experience. They can hold their physical form, probably up to about an hour. This time, like I say, he held it for about 30, 40 minutes. And then, of course, like I say, I only saw a small glimpse of him for a couple seconds when I finally saw him standing way at a distance at the other end of the building. I don't know how the hell he walked over there that fast. There's no way he could have, because he walked off really slowly. And I turned around and he was already gone. That's why I got up. And I didn't see him through the aisles or anything. And I'm like, what the hell? And then finally I saw him standing there way at the other end of the building. And then, like I said, my sister could have swore she saw him go buy a book or whatever, but that's a really far distance where we were sitting, a really, really far distance where we were sitting, and the cashiers. So what I actually was really thinking about doing. But we left, let's see, they closed, Thursday, they closed at 10 o'clock, but we left at like 8:20. Like I say, we stayed for about an hour. And what I really was thinking about doing was just staying there in the parking lot to see if I ever saw him walk out of the building. But I thought, shit, I don't want to stay here for another freaking, hour. And he was creepy. I mean, I actually did, after I went back to sit down, after I thought, okay, where the hell did he go? He disappeared really fast. After I sat back down for several more minutes, I had to go pee-pee. So I told my sister I was going to go to the bathroom, and I walked to the bathroom, and I kept looking over there and stuff, and I didn't see him or whatever, but I didn't really make an effort to try to go look for him because I was already creeped out by the guy. And I was already creeped out by him, and I didn't really want him staring at me any longer. So, like I say, I don't know at what point he totally de-manifested, but I guarantee you I probably will never see him again because these aliens are never going to show up as the identical same person twice. They never have with me anyway. They did during the same experience, back at 24 Hour Fitness Center, that reptilian alien, yeah, he disappeared after, he appeared for about 15 minutes, and then he disappeared for 45 minutes, and then he reappeared as, you know, the exact same, you know, tall, lanky, blue collar looking, you know, pretty decent looking white guy, except there was something, you know, he was a freaking alien. I didn't know it at the time because I didn't understand all this shit. But I'll post that video too. But I guarantee you, I will probably never see this Anthony again. And if I do, then I'll know that he is a more likely just a human hybrid. And then I could just I'll go edit this video. But I guarantee you, I will probably never see him again. And I mean, he may later show up in some other physical form. But it's not going to be that same person that looks like that guy that I just showed you. And also, I also want to say this. And anyway, I also told him, I was like, you also look a little bit like Jack Nicholson. And then, you know, my sister started talking about Jack Nicholson, and he's like, yeah, you know, he's kind of crazy, but a good crazy. You know, you almost kind of have to be crazy. You'd really have to get into people's brains. I thought that was kind of interesting now that I think about it, how he said that. You know, you kind of have to get into people's brains, you know, to be an actor, you know, because you have to play certain roles and you have to get into like a murderer's head. Yeah, and see, and like I say, it took me a while. I didn't think that was, when he said that was, well, like I say, I didn't analyze the whole experience till, you know, a little bit later. But now that I think about it, you know, yesterday or a day ago, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about how that was kind of weird that he said that, because, you know, because they totally get into your brain and they know your every thought and all that crap. You know, these aliens. And, yeah, so... Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. He said that about getting into people's brains and stuff. And then he was like, but Jack Nicholson, he's a good crazy. You know, there's some bad crazies, but he's a good crazy. And so anyway, but also about 2 weeks ago, several times in that 2-week period, I was asking the aliens, you know, when are you going to give me another physical encounter? When are you going to show up physically again? And so I guess that's how finally because everything I ask for, I get it. I mean, it still may be 2 or 3 weeks later, and then I kind of have to rack my brain. I'm thinking, wow, I asked for that experience, man. And so anyway, I guess that's why the reptilian, you know, decided to give me another physical encounter. Because the last one was in at least like this experience was the last, you know, physical encounter where they showed up like this in physical form in 3D was in 2014. And but I'm gonna post that video on here. There's a lot of other experiences I haven't talked about yet, physical experiences. But yeah, I mean, some of them are so scary you don't want to try to go up and interact with them. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, it took me a while to bring back that memory, but I'm thinking, you know what? Over the past 2 weeks, I've asked him at least 4 or 5 times to give me another physical encounter. Like, when are you going to show up in physical form again? And then Thursday night, on March 9th, I had this encounter. And so anyway, I think I said everything. But anyway, I really wish I just would have sat in the parking lot till 10 o'clock to see if I saw his ass walk out of the building. Because I guarantee you, he would not have walked out of the building. But like I say, I sure hope I don't see him again, because if I do, you know, if I see him many more times and he's just sitting there at the book, you know, in the cafe or whatever, then I'm going to know, oh man, that guy's really human. He wasn't an alien like I thought or whatever. But also, like I say, right off the bat, when he acted like he saw us in there all the time, I knew that was very weird, because I've never seen that guy ever, ever, ever. And if I see that one employee, that one female employee that was working at the time, there was only one woman that was working at the time in the cafe. All week long, Barnes & Nobles had been kind of dead. if I see that woman again, I'm going to ask her, do you remember that Thursday night and we were talking to that guy? And I'm going to ask her, have you ever seen that man in here? And of course, I don't know, that woman doesn't work a lot because she's a college student, but hopefully I'll see her again soon because I'm going to ask her if she remembers seeing that guy. And but like another thing, you know, these people have it wrong on YouTube. You know, they keep acting like all these people, these newscasters and stuff, are like, they think they're like reptilian aliens. But they're not. I mean, they can't just, like I say, they can't just stay there physically every day, every night as the same, you know, the same freaking person. They have it ass backwards. These beings, I mean, what the deal is, all of those people are just humans. I mean, yeah, some of them are probably human hybrids, but they're permanently physical to this dimension. And so what they're doing, they're just, everybody shapeshifts, whether you're a hybrid or not. I can see shapeshifting in just about anybody, and especially on cameras, TV. It's harder to see it in person, but TV, cameras, cell phones. But these people have it wrong on YouTube. They keep acting like those people are like real physical reptilian aliens that are just walking around, you know, every day in physical form, and then they just happen to throw human looking holograms over themselves. But no, that's not how it works. These aliens cannot operate like that. I mean, yeah, they can possess, you know, a physical human, you know, for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours or whatever. But when the aliens morph over into this dimension and manifest as completely physical, they cannot hold that form for very long. And like I say, normally they'll pose as something really weird looking, or weird looking human or whatever. Normally they're not going to show themselves as they really look. But I don't know. I mean, I think they have it ass backwards. They totally have it ass backwards because... But some people just have different perceptions. But I know by experience, all my experiences, that they do not operate like that. You know, I mean, if they could, they would. I mean, like right now, I mean, like if I had a big party in my house and a reptilian alien, you know, wanted to manifest, you know, as physical, and then just throw some kind of human hologram over himself or whatever, you know, I mean, if it was that easy for them to do that, they would do that. It's not easy for them to do that. It's not easy for them to come over or morph into this dimension completely physically, you know, and interact with you. It's not easy for them to do that. I mean, that's why, you know, people have experiences like once in their lifetime, or in my case, these physical encounters. Well, I'm getting more and more and more, but I do not have these. I mean, I have, you know, give me lucid dreams every day, out-of-body experiences every day, virtual reality experiences almost every day, and especially lucid dreams every day or whatever, but they cannot give me physical encounters every day like that because they do not operate like that. They can't, because they're not made physically like we are. But if they would, I mean, if they could, they would. Like I say, the last physical encounter like this that I had was in 2014. I'd have to think about some other physical encounters between that, but I mean, as far as like this, interacting with me and everything, and posing as like a physical human, it had been since 2014. You know, they don't operate like that. They can't operate like that. Why do you think they control people that are already physical here? They control them. They control them and, you know, manipulate them because they're already physical. The hybrids, you know, the 6,000 Illuminati people or whatever. But yeah, so these people on YouTube have it totally wrong. But thanks for listening. Oh, yeah. So anyway, here's the game that I was playing. Spelling out go now. Then it says scan. makes this evil noises when it's spelling out stuff. But yeah, the aliens don't operate like that. All of those people on YouTube that are preaching that shit, those people are 100% humans. And they're just shape-shifting a lot. Anybody does that over computers and TVs. Everybody shape-shifts. And some things you can see it a little better, like, you know, like fuzzy VHS tapes and stuff like that. But yeah, they're just shape-shifting humans is all they are. They're not aliens. They're not physical aliens, you know what I'm saying? Like all these newscaster people and stuff. Thanks for listening.